Morning, Earthlings. How you doing? Josh Poet with you here, First Contact Radio. Hope you're doing well. Well, we just about made it through another week. This is our last day, and then on into the big weekend here in the United States, 4th of July. A time for all Americans to remember the freedom you have so that you can be aware of the ones that they're trying to take away. They stepped up for independence over 200 years ago. Americans, you're being called to step up for independence now. So think about that for a little bit. Something to think about this weekend. Let's jump into the date for today. Today we are Red Resonant Moon. Red Resonant Moon guided by the dragon. The red color is the color of initiation. Resonant tone is called the resonant tone of attunement. It's number 7. The symbol for today is the moon, which is all about purification, universal water, and the guide for today, the dragon, is about the power of birth. Altogether, the phrase for today is I channel in order to purify, inspiring flow. I seal the process of universal water with the resonant tone of attunement. I am guided by the power of birth. I am a galactic activation portal. Enter me. And on the Gregorian calendar, well, it's the beginning of a new month, Friday, July 1st, 2011. So that catches you up to speed for the first day of the new moon, the new month. Now the difference here is when you have a new month with this system here, the dream spell system, it always begins, there's a theme for that whole moon. But with the month of July, we don't have the same type of thing with the Gregorian calendar. There's not a theme to each month or moon like there is with the other system, the 13 moon system. So just one of the little changes that are part of it. And I'm going to jump over to the Cosmic News now with Dirk. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Hey, Los Angeles, it's me, Johnny B. Free for freeinlosangeles.com. And if you made a New Year's resolution to save some money, and if you haven't, you should, you need to go check out freeinlosangeles.com. It's got over 3,000 things to do for free, from free eating to free movies to free shows to free comedy to free everything. If it's free, it's at freeinla.com. Check it out. Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. Brought to you by CosmicNewsNetwork.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, it is time for the greatest show on Earth. That would be the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight we are going to be talking about popular mechanics and 9/11 lies. A couple of years ago, Popular Mechanics entered the media circus in an attempt to continue its 9/11 debunking campaign that began several years ago. A new book claims to expose the myths of the 9/11 truth movement, yet it is Popular Mechanics who has been exposed as propagating falsehoods while engaging in nepotism, shoddy research, and agenda-driven politics. Now, of course, it comes as no surprise that Popular Mechanics is owned by the Hearst Corporation. As fictionalized in Orson Welles' acclaimed film Citizen Kane, William Randolph Hearst wrote a book on cronyism and yellow journalism, and Popular Mechanics hasn't bucked down from that tradition. The magazine is a cheerleader for sophistication of advanced weaponry and new technology used by police in areas such as crowd control and anti-terror operations, and a hefty chunk of its advertising revenue relies on military and defense contractors. Since the invasion of Afghanistan, Iraq, and in the future Iran, all cite 9/11 as a pretext. What motivation does the magazine have to conduct a balanced investigation? and risk upsetting its most coveted clientele. Tonight, we debunk debunking 9/11 lies. That's tonight on the Cosmic News.
On the line with us is Davin Coburn in New York City. He is with Popular Mechanics magazine. Davin, thanks very much for being on our show this morning.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Yeah. First of all, what is your job at Popular Mechanics, and why are you speaking with me?
Sure, I'm the research editor here at the magazine. I was an original reporter on the magazine piece in the March 2005 issue, and then my role for this book was largely to fact-check the material in it.
All right.
To make sure that everything there was accurate.
All right, let me go to the phones. Mike in Phoenix is first this morning on the show.
Building 7, I think, is the real Achilles heel of all this. Larry Silverstein, the man who presciently took out an enormous insurance policy a couple months before 9/11 on the building that he had just, on the complex that he had just leased for 99 years, said that on PBS they decided to pull the building 7. How did they pull Building 7?
Actually, that's a great question, and the answer is that they didn't. That quote has been kicked around by conspiracy theorists over and over, and having spoken to Silverstein, having spoken to any number of large controlled demolition firms, including those that are accused, the term pull it is not a demolition term. People have watched it. I'm sorry?
Since when is it not a demolition term? That's the only context I've heard it used in.
We have never heard it used that way, and neither actually have, the people who do this professionally that we spoke to.
Good afternoon, Milwaukee Company.
Sorry, is this Controlled Demolitions?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I was wondering if there was someone I could talk to briefly just to ask a question I had.
Well, what kind of question?
Well, I just wanted to know what a term meant in demolition terms.
Okay, what type of term?
Well, if you were in the demolition business and you said the term pull it, I was wondering what exactly that would mean.
Pull it?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute.
Thank you.
Sir?
Yes?
Pull it is when they actually pull it down.
Oh. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
What about the 7 hijackers? 7 to 9 hijackers that were reported in the British press who came forward and said, we're alive. What are we doing on the FBI's list of so-called hijackers? We're alive and well. How do they explain that one?
Actually, my explanation for that is that I have read that one BBC report that claims
it's
to
more
have
than one BBC report. Are you saying that that's false?
I am saying that is false.
Okay, how did you verify that?
There was DNA evidence collected all over the place.
The building was incinerated. The concrete was turned into powder. There were molten pools of steel in the bottom of the building that were still hot weeks after, and they were able to do autopsies on bodies.
Have you ever seen photos
are you insane? Where are the autopsy reports you're referring to? On the hijackers. Where are those reports? I haven't heard anything about autopsy.
Particularly out of the Pentagon, actually.
Well, I want to know where, even if we presume that you're correct that they recovered the DNA of the 19 hijackers from the rubble, where did they get their original DNA against which to match it?
My point.
No, don't go to your point. Go to my point. Where did they get the original DNA of a bunch of Middle Eastern Islamic madmen? Where did they get the DNA? Had they submitted the DNA before they... where the hell did they get it? You're not even talking sensibly with me.
Off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that.
Of course you don't.
I'll get back to you with it.
Is that a promise?
I will do my best.
People all across the state of Arizona now are hearing Davin Coburn say on the show that he's going to find out how they got that DNA checked against those Islamic terrorists who had shaved their bodies naked to hijack those planes that day. Good. I'd like to hear it.
Popular Mechanics.
Hi, Davin?
Yep.
Hi, my name's Jeff. The reason I was calling was because I wanted to ask you, the other day, I heard you say something about the evidence for DNA with the 19 hijackers. I was wondering if you could source that information yet?
If you have any questions about the 9/11 book, I can give you a number to call, or you can contact our media representative.
You aren't able to source that information yet? And also the fact that I called 3 demolition companies, and they are aware of the term pullet. You said that that was not used in any demolition company term.
Thanks very much for the call. Do you have the contact info for our media representative?
What is that, please?
Can I put you on hold for just a second?
So you can't answer either of those questions then?
I'll put you on hold. I'll be right back.
Thanks very much.
Hey, sorry about that.
Hi,
that 911 number is 212-649-2935.
So you still have no information about where you got the DNA evidence from, or?
I've been instructed to direct every phone call about that 911 book to that number.
Okay, and did you had tried calling Controlled Demolitions or anybody to get the term pullet defined?
Thanks very much for your call. Have a good day.
Oh, you too, Davin.
You've reached the office of the 911 editor. Please leave a message of 60 seconds or less. Thank you for your interest in Popular Mechanics.
Okay.
All right. You don't understand why when you tell us that they found the hijackers' DNA remains amongst the molten steel, and I ask you where did they get the original DNA from the hijackers to match it against? Do you think that's bizarre to ask a question like that? Do you think it's conspiratorial just to want to know?
I think the way that you're framing it is not.
How will you frame it differently, but get to the same issue for me? How would you frame it?
I think I would take a different take on the entire question.
Well, okay, there's DNA evidence. You've told me they have DNA evidence that matches the hijackers.
I would think that the entire question, however, is baseless. I think that it is not even a question that is worth answering.
Well, you're the one that told me they had the DNA evidence.
You're the one who wouldn't let me approach the question from the way that I would answer it.
Well, go ahead and approach it.
And that is that if that report, if these men are still alive,
right?
Why have we not seen any news reports? Why have we not seen any?
But you're the one. Okay, can I answer that for you?
Sure.
Okay, I don't know the answer. That's my answer. Now, now, let me ask you a question in the same spirit. You told me that they've checked their DNA. Where did they get the original DNA to check it against? You're the one with the answers. I'm not. I just have questions.
And I'm telling you that actually, a 7-year-old can ask why. Over and over and over, and there's
no. This is the worst attack on America in the history of this country. We've invaded 2 countries, maybe a third because of it. We're going to spend trillions of dollars. It's not a 7-year-old asking why. I want to know where they got the evidence that they matched it against. What's so hard about that?
The way that you're framing it is intentionally.
Of course it is, because it's 5 years later and we haven't heard the answer, and you haven't given it to us in Popular Mechanics. I swear to God, that's it. You see. Now do you understand why people scratch their head when these kinds of representations?
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic
We are in
News.
charge of your computer.
Wake up.
Do not attempt to disconnect.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
alliances are designed to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
All right, Dirk, this is the new UFO news. Thank you very much. Okay, let's jump into, we've got 4 stories here for today. First one coming to us from the Economic Voice. Alien UFO emerging from Stargate or missile launch. Now, I played something about this the other day, and it's starting to get a bit more attention from folks out there. So, this is what they're saying lately about it. It says a video has appeared on the internet showing a rather strange, as yet unexplained phenomena that looks like a Stargate opening up. No one actually knows what a Stargate would look like, because Stargates are officially consigned to the realm of science fiction. So what is behind this strange video, which is taken by a webcam in Hawaii? While the rapidly expanding material in the video is distributed in a pulse, yet fades very quickly, suggesting a uniform scattering of material and energy. According to various chatter on the internet, this could be indicative of a Minuteman III ICBM missile ejecting a fuel load at its 3rd separation stage. At least, this is the suggestion of a contributor to the astronomical forum, Starship Asterix. The explanation has been sort of backed up by Gary Fujara of the University of Hawaii's Institute of Astronomy, because the time scale of the episode is so short and therefore quick, it would be an atmospheric versus cosmic in nature, perhaps fuel venting from a spacecraft or discarded upper stage of a rocket. Apparently, minutes before the stage event was captured on video, the webcam at the Canada-France-Hawaii telescope, which is located close to the summit of Mauna Kea, there was indeed a Minuteman III missile fired from the Californian Vandenberg Air Force Base at 3:35 a.m. The northeast view of the pulse from the camera also tallies up with the relative position of the Vandenberg Air Force Base. However, this has not yet been confirmed as a smoking gun missile behind the pulse-like bubble. There have been conspiracies and conspiratorials who view this palm bubble as part of the increase of UFO activity globally. The pulse emanating from the direction of the constellation of Cassiopeia has even the tinfoil hatters divided. Some think it's an energy discharge from the opening of an intergalactic portal, while others see it as a time travel event from our future selves. I'm going to give you a look at it again, see what you think here. Okay, here we go. Alright, I'm going to play one more time here. See that? Just sort of starts out and then just boom, becomes a big bubble and goes away. So, what is that? Not quite certain. Has others quite curious indeed. We'll report more as we know more. Now over here, this is over at the Examiner. They're looking at the same thing. A bizarre video surfaced Thursday that shows a calm, starry night disrupted by a large expanding bubble or UFO in a space that appears, then disappears over the course of just a few brief seconds. Although the possible UFO sighting is extremely short, it is fascinating. You can watch the clip by launching the video. So here again, we'll have these links up for you so you can read these different stories here. This was Tracy Pierce over at the Examiner. Now, this story is, no, we're not going to do that one there. I'm going to jump to this one here, educatinghumanity.com. And this sighting right here, where was it here? Let me double check here. There's a couple good stories here for you. Alright, I think we're just going to do this one right up top. And this story here has to do with London. It says UK UFO in the UK. UFO update. Polls suggest London UFOs are real and that they have UFO pictures and video. So here we go. Mainstream media lending credibility to London UFOs. Polls suggest that the UFO in London are real. To vote and see results, scroll down and click on the link. Video at the bottom of the post. Well, many of these two types of UFO videos can be easily written off. The emergence of two separate recordings of the same week could give you a pause. Even more incredible is just how similar they seem. Both videos show a group of 3 white discs floating over the sky, namely over the BBC building and the Tower Bridge. Both were taken late last week, and in one of the videos you can see at least a few people looking up the object, adding some credibility to the cameraman. Whether or not there's a better explanation is a matter of opinion at this point. Last October, many New Yorkers were astonished to witness several alleged UFOs maneuvering in the sky above the Chelsea section of Manhattan in the middle of the afternoon. While the FAA received many reports about the strange objects and radar returns couldn't explain the UFOs away, it turned out they may simply have been a bunch of balloons that had been intended for a party north of the city. The balloons reportedly got away from the party and were carried along by air currents that eventually brought them to the Big Apple. At least, that is one of the debunkers' theory. But could this also explain the London UFOs? Or is it a Photoshop hoax depicting alien-type vehicles in the sky? What do you think? Alright, so let me play a little portion of this for you again right here. See for yourself. Alright, where is it? Oh, there it is right here. It's a pretty good sized one right above the bridge. Alright. And this is the same thing, it's going a little bit slower. Yeah, there's something up there. Okay. So that's one of the sightings there above the bridge. And what is this one here? This is... Alright, this is another angle, it looks like. Nothing in view yet. Slow motion. Okay. Is he trying to say that's a UFO? I don't know if that is. It looks like it's attached to something. Maybe it's a flag, unless there's something up here that I'm missing. Alright, you can be the judge. Look at for yourself. I'll have those links up after the show. FirstContactRadio.com. Just click on the link on the right that says UFO News. And last, here's a story. This is Nick Pope of the UK. And, well, Nick is an expert, obviously, on all of this material and this matter. And we're going to get his view on what he thinks this is. So here we go.
I used to work for the Ministry of Defence, where one of my jobs was investigating UFO sightings. What I'm going to do now is look at 4 videos that have captured the public imagination over the last few years. I'm going to go through them, evaluate them, and then talk about the UFO phenomenon more generally. UFO over London, of course, it gets everyone's attention. The slightly suspicious thing, though, is it's a part of London where it just so happens that a large number of film companies and visual effects companies are based, and some of the people do look a little bit self-satisfied, so I suspect this is a CGI hoax and that someone is showcasing their skills. What's fascinating about this, and something that's been reported before by other UFO witnesses all around the world, is this idea of a UFO almost playing cat and mouse with the observers. The way it ducks in and out of the cloud, as if it's playing games with the witnesses, just giving you a glimpse, but not so much that you can really see what it is. Now, does that mean that there's an intelligence behind these UFOs, or is the real intelligence really someone who maybe made this on a computer? With all these videos, unless you can get access to the witnesses, unless you can ask the Air Force if something was tracked on radar, it's almost impossible to tell. This video taken in Jerusalem is actually one of a series of about 3 or 4 different videos, and at first people took this as proof that it must be real. Look, tourists all around the city have seen the same thing but from different angles. But I think that raises the interesting question. If somebody is actually making a fake film and they're really trying to kid people, it actually is it's little extra work to maybe make those extra videos, and then the very thing that people say is proof that it's real is actually perhaps proof that someone's put a lot of thought into this, but at the end of the day, it's just another fake. This sort of UFO, this large triangular shape, is a shape that's been reported all around the world in the last 10 or 20 years. I think the problem with a video like that is that you could say, well, come on, if something obviously that big really had been hovering over Red Square in daylight, there would be tens of thousands of witnesses, it would be tracked on radar, the Air Force would have scrambled jets and maybe opened fire on the thing. And so far as I'm aware, none of that happened. So, as ever, it's an interesting piece of footage, but there are some question marks over it too.
All right, very good. Well, that's our UFO report for today. You heard some good stories. After the show, all the links are going to be up, so you can go right to our page and check them out there. Investigate them even further. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes with some more news. Enjoy.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention. Read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Now, underground is where they live. In the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. If you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies?
All right, everybody, and I'm back. Welcome back. Okay, so they tell me now that everything is linked up at the webpage. You can go there, firstcontactradio.com, and there you have everything all set there for the UFO stories for today. Now, moving right along, let's check and see what else is up around the world. There's so much going on everywhere. You can only pick and choose what you're going to talk about because you only have so much time to really talk and point others in the directions where they can find more info. Okay, spaceweather.com right here. Keep an eye on the solar weather. Looks like 402. That seems to be a normal speed every day. I'm kind of seeing those numbers there. We got an aurora watch for July 2nd. It says forecasters estimate a 35 to 40% chance of geomagnetic activity on July 2nd when a solar wind stream is expected to hit Earth's magnetic field. So stay tuned for that. And it says perfectly timed for the 4th of July weekend. The International Space Station is beginning a series of evening flybys over the U.S. Last night in Utah, hundreds of onlookers at the Bryce Canyon Observatory Festival watched a brilliant spaceship bisect the Milky Way. So there you go. If you look up to the sky this weekend, you get an opportunity to see several different things. Said it made a bright appearance over the star party and was well regarded. More than 750 are attending this year. Among the 40 telescopes available for public viewing, there is a 9-inch 1902 Alvin Clark refractor and others as well. So, very good. And that's the news from spaceweather.com. Now, here we have an article. It's from the Examiner. It's called Project Flood. British, U.S. military on site, over 10,000 evacuated. In desperation amidst Project Flood 2011, trucks and bobcats dumped and packed clay endured top levees Thursday morning after 500 U.S. military personnel, including British troops, arrived, and approximately 11,000 people raced to evacuate their homes in Minot, Burleigh City, North Dakota, where the Souris River levees failed. Water is expected to rise faster Thursday from an upstream dams that the Army Corps of Engineers opened. British troops are among the 500 military personnel, National Guards deployed to the scene late Tuesday. In what the Department of Defense terms a foreign exchange program, British troops arrived to help the National Guard during what the military dubbed Project Flood 2011. All right, Project Flood 1881's historical record of 1,558 feet is forecast to be topped Friday or Saturday when the river flows are expected to hit 17,000 cubic feet per second. Dikes were built to manage about 11,000 cubic feet per second. Obviously, it's a bit faster. And as the water rises, things can happen very quickly. So the floods are still ongoing. Whether or not you're hearing about them when you are flipping through the mainstream news, they're still going on. And more people from more cities are continuing to be evacuated. If you're in the Midwest there, you really need to be paying attention. I'm guessing that you are. I can't imagine that this lack of news coverage is even in the areas where the problems are going on. People would have to see the water, right? Next story up here. This is a little bit of Packy. P-S-A-V-V-E-N-A-S. Alright, I'm going to play a little bit of his video here. Give you a sense of some of the stories up, and then I'm going to move on. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's Packy here. It's 12:29 p.m. Thursday, June 30th, 2011. And boy, do I have some news for you today, guys. Alright, first thing I'm going to start off with is Tyson. 173 workers treated after chemical leak. Now, this is based out of Springdale, Arkansas. This is where I was employed. Tyson Food Incorporated officials say 173 workers from the Berry Street plant are being treated after an accidental exposure to chlorine gas Monday morning. Okay, well, this is what I want to say about this. This plant was in my front yard. My wife, my family was losing their hair and could smell chlorine in the water. Now, the plant blew up after I left. You guys tell me. Anyways, I'm going to move on. There's some video here you guys can watch. It talks about the exposure stuff. People got sick, guys. Alright, that's just one problem. Gonna move on. I just had to get that onto video because that was in my front yard. Anyways, moving on. Sorry about that.
Alright, so the next story, you heard the next one. He's got several others, so I'm going to have that link up there so you can watch the entire clip and watch and read all the stories to keep up on top of that information. Alright, we're going to jump over. We got a short clip here from Leak Spinner, who's keeping us updated on what's going on with the nuclear problems. Here we go.
Sorry, I haven't been on the tube for a while. I've had quite a bit on, and I've had some problems with my PC. But I'm going to be back making videos. I'm also going to be doing a lot more videos on my other channel at the moment. I've needed a bit of a break for obvious reasons. Because I've been going at this channel quite a lot, and I needed a bit of space just to look at the way things are going, and to kind of just get a bit of space from it all, really. But I'm going to be looking out, and if I come across anything that I think is worthy of making a video about the various things I've been talking about on the channel, I'll be making some more videos. Hope you're all okay, and things are going alright with you. Those of you who have my other channel, I'm going to be using that quite a bit. Not to be talking about something different to what this channel is. I've continued doing the monitoring. There hasn't been anything to report back on with that, but short and sweet. I'll leave this video here.
Alright. Alright, well, I'm going to have this video linked up there. He, for those of you who don't know his reports, he goes by Leak Spinner, is his name over there at YouTube, and he's staying up on top of Fukushima, really providing a lot of information that he's digging around and finding, and he's done a great job of that, and as he says, he's going to be pulling up some other stuff. So the link will be up there so you can follow his videos as well. Now, Fox News. Do you know the history of Fox News? Do you know how they came about? What was involved? Well, this story here is a short story they ran the other day on RT talking about it, and I thought it was pretty darn fascinating and you needed to know, so here it is.
Well, some interesting new details are coming out about how Fox News came to be what it is today. And believe it or not, the details are emerging from archives belonging to both Presidents Nixon and George H.W. Bush. See, Roger Ailes started his reign of terror as a media consultant for these two former presidents. And the concept of Fox News emerged while he was working for the Nixon administration. Ailes and his peers wanted to create programming that was pro-administration and then offer that up as an option to what he viewed as, of course, the liberal slanted media that was already all over the airwaves. Now, this original concept was supposed to be filmed and aired straight out of the White House and written and produced to be pro-Nixon news. And the documents are over 300 pages long here. But I think this paragraph from one of the first pages of the treasure trove really gives you a gist of what Ailes was looking for. In a section that he titled, "A Plan for Putting the GOP on TV News," Ailes wrote the following. Today, television news is watched more often than people read newspapers, than people listen to radio, than people read or gather any other form of communication. The reason? People are lazy. With television, you just sit, watch, listen. The thinking is done for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we found the keystone of GOP television. Ailes straight out admits that people are lazy and they purposefully go to TV where the thinking is done for them. Hence the brainwashing involved in all of the GOP-led news and all of the mainstream media news. Well, obviously, Ailes' original White House plan didn't come to fruition. But he got something even better from his evil brainchild, and it's called Fox News. See, he took the exact same ideology that he wanted to originally use to project pro-Nixon ideas, and he just augmented it to cover all conservative views on issues. Oh, and that whole fair and balanced motto, that was said, it was said to offer up the alternative to liberal media bias. Not all seemed to attack then President Nixon. But that was decades ago. And now Ailes' brainchild for a GOP-styled news channel has brought us all the right-wing, ultra-conservative commentary that we've come to know today.
Whoever leaked all those State Department documents to the WikiLeaks website is a traitor and should be executed or put in prison for life.
So if you want to believe that garbage, you go right ahead. You are voting for Obama, by the way. This is a pro-Obama book. You are voting for Obama.
But I'm not here to do Obama
Oh,
talk.
stop it. When you say
here
that,
to be insulted either. You're doing RNC talking points.
Excuse me, I don't have RNC. These are Hannity talking points.
He had a sharp stick, and he was saying to the teachers and others, he said, quote, "Get away from me, you," and then a word that starts with
Okay,
I.
I say 100% pepper spray.
You do?
Yep. And
I'm
some parenting classes.
I am not a journalist. I'm just a guy who cares. I'm sorry. I'm just a guy who cares an awful lot about my country. And I think you do too.
Well, there you have it. What started out as a method to promote Nixon's ideas and feed the media pro-administration stories has turned into what we now know as Fox News, with all those crazy hosts that we just showed you. So thank you, Roger Ailes, for giving us the least fair and balanced network that has ever existed on television.
All right, there you go. A little bit of background information about Fox News that maybe you didn't know, but now you do. That video, again, will be up so you can watch and follow links. Maybe there's some more good stuff along the way. Now, we started off the show when Dirk did a bit about debunking 9/11, actually debunking popular mechanics, and well, I always kind of like that kind of stuff because I understand and have done enough research of 9/11 to understand what really happened, as most of you already do, and I understand that people and organizations like Popular Mechanics are out there simply to discredit for I have no idea what the reason is. My wondering is this, you know, when they're out there lying, really what they're doing is they're supporting the terrorists, especially when physics and science and all the researchers point to evidence that contradicts exactly what the official report says. When they defend that report, Popular Mechanics, you're defending terrorism. You're out there pretending that you're doing some sort of service to us, but you're protecting terrorists by not wanting to know the answer. That's not American. That's quite ugly, as a matter of fact. And it's always good to see somebody debunked. Because if you notice, this guy Darren, when it came time to answer some questions about, well, where'd you get the evidence? He wasn't even man enough to be able to answer the question. He had to defer it off to somebody else. So I hope wherever he is, I hope that you're sitting with your own karma and realizing that you are a supporter of terrorism as well. And you've steered a lot of people down the wrong path with all of your lies. So sit with that for a while, brother, and maybe you'll come out with some ways to tell the truth and set this record straight as opposed to continuing to lie and be somebody's puppet. Now, along the 9/11 lines, I've got a piece here. This is Senator Mike Gravel, and this is his view on the whole 9/11 truth movement. This is from AE 9/11 Truth, where they have a lot of reports and engineers and architects who are given their analysis of what happened, and there's quite a few that are asking for a new investigation. Here is yet one more of those. Here we go. Let me back it up a bit. All right, here we go.
I support a new investigation wholeheartedly. It's a given. And when you stop and think what's happened in the last 9 years, where a voluntary investigation has taken place by people like architects and engineers and other scientific groups, and have put forth a plethora of knowledge that questions what the government said about the event. And so we need an investigation to look at this
take up all of the information that these voluntary groups have put forward and pursue that scientific knowledge that's there to its conclusion. And that conclusion is that something happened and it wasn't, and it's not what the government led us to believe happened. This is very serious. We're talking about an event in American history that there's no comparison by and large. Here it's initiated 3 wars. 1 war in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and a war on terror, which is obviously not a war, but it's a device to sustain the American efforts to fund the military-industrial complex. That's what's at stake. And of course, the view is that, well, who's going to initiate this investigation? Well, there's only 2 possibilities. One is the Congress, the other is the people. Now, the Congress has not seen fit to pursue this, and there's very obvious reasons why. Members of Congress or political leaders have a stake in their own perpetuity, getting reelected, staying in power, and so they do not want to associate themselves with issues that are not a win-win. And since the government and the media has marginalized these efforts to re-examine what happened on 9/11, and they've marginalized it to such a degree, calling this conspiracy theories. We're not talking about any conspiracy theory here. We're talking about scientific evidence that has been put forth for any reasonable person to look at and question and say, hey, there's something wrong here. And so that's where we're at this point in time. And it's vital for us to get to the bottom of these events, what led up to 9/11, what happened on 9/11, and what happened in the aftermath of 9/11. All of that must be re-examined. And, of course, what you get from political leaders is, and we saw this with Gerald Ford when he was president, and he pardoned Richard Nixon with the approach that, the people couldn't take another crisis like this. That's not so. The American people are stronger than we realize, and they have some fundamental values which have been covered over by the government. And so what we need to understand is the people can handle this investigation wherever it leads and whatever it uncovers. And they'll handle it maturely, and that is vital to the survival of our democracy. And absent that, we are in very serious difficulties for the future. There's only 2 venues where a solution can be applied to, and one is the Congress, our political leaders, and the other is the people. A&E 9/11 Truth has put together a petition that will be submitted to the Congress. I want to applaud that effort, but I want to be realistic and tell you that the Congress, under the present circumstances, may not be all that responsive, unfortunately. But that's changing, because as you begin to get public officials who will own up to their interest in having the investigation take place, you will overcome the peer pressure that exists within the Congress to not act or to castigate any member who stands up asking for action. So that's a dynamic that will go on over time. I think the other dynamic could deal with the subject a lot more rapidly, and that is the possibility of going to the people with an initiative process. Now, we have 24 states in the United States where people can make policy decisions irrespective of the government. And what we're attempting to do now is to draft an initiative for the state of California. Then take that identical language and take it to other states so that we could get maybe 5, 10 states across the country that would all vote at the same time, which would be November 2012, which means that the issue of a new investigation would become part of the electoral process and would be a hot potato political issue for the people running for Congress and the people running for president, because it would be so visible at the time. This is the only way I can see to overcome the fact that the media won't pay attention to this subject. But the media here too exists under peer pressure. Unless you see somebody in the media substantially stepping forward and calling for this, the others will just stay quiet. The program that I think most likely to succeed, but I want to use that word advisedly, because we will have difficult limitations with an initiative at the state level, because we can vest the investigation with subpoena powers, indictment powers, the powers of a grand jury. But we can't go beyond that. But we'll be restricted to those powers for that particular state. So if we have several states involved, that gives us a larger venue to exercise this unusual power. What would happen if we discover something? And when I say discover, the scientific work's already been done by these volunteers across the country. No, what I'm talking about, will somebody come forward and fess up to being party to a conspiracy to bring about what happened on 9/11? Now, people say, well, nobody stepped forward at this point. Well, of course nobody stepped forward. Who would step forward? They probably would get killed, first off, or they'd be marginalized, or just look at what happens to whistleblowers in our country. So, no, nobody's going to step forward who's done a criminal deed, and nobody's investigating it. That's the tragedy. We've never really had an investigation of the criminality of what took place on 9/11. And so now if you begin that process, somebody may well come forward. And who knows where it will lead? I know one thing. If you do nothing, nothing happens. If you do something, something good might happen. And good in that regard is something more informative to the people of this country about what happened on 9/11 than what the government has laid on as a fabric, which makes no sense at all. Look at the evidence. In fact, I'll say this very categorically. Any reasonable person who looks at the evidence that's been brought forward by the various groups who focus their research capability on what happened on 9/11, any reasonable person looking at that has got to come away with the feeling that something has to be done, a real investigation has to be put forward. One of the reasons I am so adamant for a new investigation, particularly by citizens, because whatever is revealed, I, in my heart of hearts, believes that it will have an unbelievable psychological effect on the American populace. And I think we need that. We need for the American people to wake up and to question authority. And that can save this country from going into a tyranny, which I think it's pointed in that direction now. And so an investigation and the results of an investigation of 9/11 could wake up the American people to really what is going on and why they need to participate as citizens in their own governance.
All right, very important words indeed. We need people to wake up to the reality, wake up to the truth. If you can't handle the truth when it's put in front of you, when the evidence is there, then what are you supposed to accept, and how do you get through life? If we're to accept 9/11 happened the way that the commission report says, then what we need to do in order to accept that is we need to take all of our science books and our physics books and throw them all away. Mathematics books, because the things that we have been taught about on this planet about those subjects no longer apply. Because on 9/11, the incidents that occurred were beyond the laws of physics and the laws of science, if we are to believe what's in that commission report. But following along with the laws of science and physics and mathematics, everything that the researchers have looked at can prove exactly and conclusively that what happened on 9/11 is not what happened in that report at all. So, very important. Take a look at that. All right, we have just a moment or so here. So go ahead and close your eyes. All right, what I want you to do is I just want you to think now about the word freedom. Think about the word freedom no matter where you are on this planet. Freedom means something important to you wherever you are around the world. So think of the word freedom. Allow that freedom to fill through your body. And as you're thinking of that freedom, go ahead and turn all your chakras on, starting from the bottom: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, indigo. Let all that multicolored energy flow through your body. Imagine it overflowing to form your spiritual armor. Extend that armor out and just hold that idea of freedom and throw into the mix love and just send that energy out around the world. The mix of freedom and love for everybody around the planet. Freedom and love. Love and freedom. Now holding that energy there, just allowing that to settle in and stay. Bring your attention back to the present moment on the count of 3, 2, and 1. That's the end of our little prayer meditation. Open your eyes. We finish things up here for today, and we're getting ready to move on into the weekend. So as you go out there, my friends, be safe. We've got a long 4th of July weekend here in the States, a long weekend around the world. Pay attention. Think about freedom. Think about your freedom, what the Founding Fathers did for this country. Right now, those freedoms are being stepped all over. We can get it back, but we got to stand together. I'm Josh Poet. I'll talk to you next week. Peace. I'm out of here.